What's it like living as a female expat in Asia? Well, if you've heard that question before, welcome back to you. This video is actually not going to be about what it's like to live as a female expat in Asia. This video is in fact a check-in after exactly 365 days since I first asked that question on camera. If you are new here, it is great to have you with me. My name is Wendy, and for more than 3 decades I've lived and worked in 5 different countries in Asia, and I still live and work in Asia for the last 12 years in Thailand. Thailand today is presenting me with one of the windiest days. Well, I'm trying to record this, but true to what you need to do for the algorithm, I've decided that I need to do an update on this day, so we're just going to persevere through the wind. So in this video, I'll talk about the statistics, which I'll come up with in a minute, and also some of the things I've learned, some of the things that surprised me, and some of the things about moving forward. It won't be a long video, but let's get into the meat straight away, shall we? So since the channel started, it was 2 days before my birthday, and this is 2 days before my birthday this year. Since that time, I've had 71,000 views, which seems like a lot. I've had 1,500 watch hours, which YouTube have recently changed the needs to be the requisites for being monetized. So up until next year in February, you need to have 4,000 watch hours. I've had 1,500 watch hours, but after February next year, 2027, you'll need to have 8,000 to be monetized. Now, I would like to be monetized, but you know, we'll let that sort of play out how it goes. So that's the situation for now. One thing that has happened, which is really exciting, is I've got 1,069 subscribers. So welcome to you. I started with nothing and I'm delighted to have you with me. If you're one of the subscribers, according to my statistics, 75% of the people who watch my videos do not subscribe. So if you are watching and you'd like to subscribe, that would really be wonderful. Oh, it's so windy. I'm sorry about that. I've had 369,000 impressions. And I think what impressions are is people sort of stopping by. And from the impressions, I've had 683 watch hours from then. So I don't know how that works statistically, but these are just the statistics. As I said, it's actually not 75% of people are not subscribed, 78% of people are not subscribed. Now, the interesting thing about this whole thing is the title of my YouTube channel is The Female Expat. And I started it because I wanted to have a voice for female expats living in Southeast Asia. There's lots and lots of channels for men out there and there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the interesting statistic. Of the breakdown of female male to the number of people who watch my channel, it's actually 58% male and 42% women, which is great. I'm happy to have you blokes along with me. I have been contacted by males who've watched my channel and said that they're watching it because they would like to move to Southeast Asia and they want to talk to their female partner about that. So I don't mind who's watching, but I do find it quite interesting. The top countries who are watching, I get a lot of views from Thailand, but the next highest percentage is from the US, then the UK, then Australia, and then Canada. And in fact, the percentage for the US is actually quite high. Here's an interesting thing that I discovered today. The Norwegians and the Danish, they don't have a lot of subscribers or a lot of viewers. It's something like, 0.1 or 1%, it might be, or 1 or 2%, but they watch the longest. The Danes are watching me for an average of over 6 minutes per video, which is a lot. Anybody who knows anything about YouTube will know that that's a lot. And the same with the Norwegians. They watch, for more than 4.5 minutes. And a lot of people just watch for a couple of minutes and they switch off. So I found that statistically interesting. Even though there aren't a lot of them, they do watch for a long time. And where are my demographics in terms of age? Okay, so 20% of my viewers are aged between 35 and 44. I'm really battling the weather. 18% are aged between 45 and 54. Now, I'm turning 57, so I'm in the next demographic. 26.5% of my viewers are aged between 55 and 64, and that sort of makes sense, I think. And 28%, the highest percentage by far, the next demographic up, which is 65 plus. And these are people probably looking at retirement or just looking for a change of life, or maybe they've got more time to watch videos. And the days that most people watch are Tuesdays and Saturdays. So that is also interesting. I think it used to be Sundays when I first started off, but now it's those days, Tuesdays and Saturdays. So those are the hardcore statistics about what's going on with my channel. What are the things that I've found the most interesting? I found the most interesting the interactions when people leave a comment, because even though I don't have the 4,000 watch hours yet, the people who are watching quite often ask really interesting questions, or they have really interesting comments. So I know that there's some people who are involved in the in getting people overseas, and they've sort of talked about the schooling things, getting your kids into school. There's been some really interesting comment around medications, being able to get your medications here. And every time there's an interaction, if somebody leaves a comment, I always try and reply, even if it's a negative comment, because I really respect anybody who stays and watches these videos. I do watch a lot of YouTube. I don't watch any terrestrial TV, get most of my information from the internet these days. And so I really know what it's like when somebody actually interacts and says, yeah, actually, I want to say something about that. And I really appreciate that. So anybody who's left a comment, thank you so much. And I'm always interested to hear your opinion, or if you do have another question about it. The thing I found the toughest, and I think this is true for all new YouTubers, and especially if you're like me, you're working full time, is keeping the algorithm gods happy. Oh my God, that is such a stress sometimes, because sometimes I'm just tired, or I can't think of something to say, or I put a lot of effort into a video, do some editing and whatever, and it gets 100 views, and then I'll put another video up that I've sort of done on the bit of a fly, and it gets 2,000 views, which I'm very grateful for. But it's always surprising as to what has hit the mark and what hasn't. And I found that a little bit stressful at times, to the point where for a little while there I sort of stopped making videos, not completely, but instead of it being weekly, I sort of went to 2 weekly or 3 weekly. But we all lose heart sometimes. And when I've reached out to other YouTubers that I really respect, particularly there's a couple of female YouTubers living in Japan or other parts of the world as well, but usually in Asia. When I've reached out to them, they've said, just keep going, just keep doing it, and do what you do and do what you can. And that's all that we can do. If you've got other commitments, God help me if I still had young kids. I don't know, I couldn't do it at all, because, between working and having a young family, I think if you dedicate yourself to YouTube, you're doing a great job. So the great parts have been the interactions with people who've actually taken the time to contact me in the comments section. And like I said, even if you disagree, and you're welcome to disagree, it's always interesting to hear from people. I have been contacted by women who've said, this is really helpful. And as I said at the beginning, I've been contacted by guys who've said, thank you for putting that up there. I'll tell my wife about this, or I wanted to talk to my partner about this. Moving forward, I've only done 2 interviews with other people. I've been interviewed for a few things, but I've only done 2 interviews, and I want to really increase that. I also want to reach out to the LGBTQ community, because I think that also, particularly who are a bit older, not the young ones who are out in the clubs, because I want to hear more about what it's like for women in that space who are moving to Asia. I've talked plenty of times about the fact that if you're what is it, cis natural, cis normal, whatever, cis normative, whatever that term is, if you're heterosexual and you're my age and you're looking for a partner in Asia, and you think that might happen, a little bit tricky. And I've talked about that a couple of times, but I want to hear more from the LGBTQ community as well, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear if you've found the content interesting, if there's something you'd like me to cover, if there's something that you think I'm mistaken about. I'm always happy to hear from another opinion. So that was the purpose of today's video, just to let you know where we are. Not monetized, but very happy to keep going. When I get a bit tired and I think, oh, can I be bothered doing this? I look at the comments, I look at people interacting with the video, and I think, okay, I'll keep going, because somewhere out there, even if I'm just talking to one person and it helps them make a decision, then that's enough for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. The next video will be about an expat topic, but for now, this is just me keeping you in tune. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye-bye.